Hello and thank you for watching my video. My name is Astrid Krasniqi. I'm CCNA and CCNP certified instructor. On this video, we are covering CCNA Semester 4, Routing and Switching, Connecting Networks. This is Chapter 7 and Section 7.3, Introducing IPsec. Upon completion of this section, you should be able to describe the characteristics of IPsec, explain how IPsec or Internet Protocol Security is implemented using the IPsec protocol framework. IPsec, it provides secure connection, secure VPN over unsecure network. So we're creating a private network, a virtual private network over the internet. So secure communication over the internet or over unsecure network. So offers a flexible and scalable connectivity. You can create IPsec as many times as you want. You don't need to buy a private lease line to have that security. You can just create the VPNs. So site-to-site connection can provide a secure, fast and reliable remote connection. With an IPsec VPN, the information from a private network is securely transported over a public network. So the internet here, for example, it will be a public network. All that data there is scary. Everyone can see it. But with IPsec, you can create these tunnels that all the data that you send is going to be encrypted. They're still going to go over through the public network. There's still somebody can have a look at them, but once they have the look at them, they shouldn't be really making sense of what the data says because it's all encrypted. This form of virtual network instead of using a dedicated layer 2 connection. To remain private, the traffic is encrypted to keep the data confidential. IPsec is an IETF standard that defines how VPN can be configured in a secure manner using the Internet Protocol. IPsec is a framework of open standard that spells out the rule for secure communication. So it's like a framework, yeah. So IPsec describes what kind of protocols you can use to create this private network. So it's good because even if we have a future protocols, we don't need to change anything in the IPsec because IPsec is only the framework, which you're going to see a bit later. So IPsec is not bounded to any specific encryption, authentication, security algorithm, or keychain technology. Rather, IPsec relies on existing algorithms to implement secure communication, which IPsec allows newer and better algorithms to be implemented without amending the existing IPsec standard, which is very good. Because with IPsec, it tells you what protocols are available for you to have secure communication. So if we have a different, newer protocols in the future, you don't have to change a thing in IPsec. So IPsec is here to stay. IPsec works at the network layer, protecting and authenticating IP packets between participating IPsec devices. They are also known as peers. IPsec can protect virtually all application traffic because the protection can be implemented from layer 4 to layer 7. All implementation of IPsec have a plain text layer 3 header, so there's no issues with routing. So IPsec characteristics can be summarized as follows. IPsec is a framework of open standards that is algorithm independent. IPsec provides data confidentiality, data integrity, and origin authentication. IPsec acts as a network layer, protecting and authenticating IP packets. So these are the services IPsec offers. First, confidentiality. This is by encrypting our documents. Then, data integrity. With this, we make sure that data has not been changed from the source to destination. We have the integrity there. Authentication. We can authenticate the source and destination. They can authenticate each other. So making sure that we are talking to the correct device or correct end device. So there's no point to have all this confidentiality, data integrity if at start we are talking with the attacker. So first we authenticate the devices, making sure that they are who they say they are, and then we have the confidentiality by encrypting our data, and all the encryption is going to have the integrity, that making sure that our encryption is the same way as I send it, the same way you're going to receive it. And last thing we have with IPsec is anti-replay protection. So we have a sequence numbers in there so nobody can replay the same packets. So with confidentiality, which is called encryption, in a VPN implementation, private data travels over public network. For this reason, data confidentiality is vital. It can be attained by encrypting the data before transmitting it across the network. This is the process of taking all the data that one computer is sending to another and encoding it in a form that only the other computer will be able to decode. If the communication is intercepted, it cannot be read by attacker, hopefully. If our encryption is good, then they shouldn't be able to decrypt it. IPsec provides enhanced security features, such as strong encryption algorithms. The data integrity. The receiver can verify that the data was transmitted through the internet without being changed or altered in any way. While it is important that data is encrypted over a public network, it is just as important to verify that data has not been changed while in transit. IPsec has a mechanism to ensure that the encrypted portion of the packet or the entire header of the data portion of the packet has not been changed. IPsec ensures data integrity by using checksums, which is a simple redundancy check. If tampering is detected, the packet is dropped. Authentication will verify the identity of the source of the data that is sent. This is necessary to guard against a number of attacks that depend on spoofing the identity of the sender. Authentication ensures that the connection is made with the desired communication partner. The receiver can authenticate the source of the packet by certifying the source of the information. IPsec uses Internet Key Exchange, or IKE, to authenticate users and devices that can carry out communication independently. IKE uses several types of authentication, including username and password. We have one-time password, biometrics, pre-shared key, and digital certificates. Anti-replay protection. This is the ability to detect and reject replayed packet and helps prevent spoofing. Anti-replay protection verifies that each packet is unique and not duplicated. IPsec packets are protected by comparing the sequence numbers of the receiving packet with the sliding window of the destination host or security gateway. A packet that has a sequence number that is before the sliding window is considered to be late or duplicate. Late and duplicate packets are dropped. So confidentiality with encryption. For example, this lady wants to send paid Jeremy $100. It's going to encrypt that packet with IPsec, and then it's going to send the encrypted format to the destination. So if unauthorized user gets hold of that packet, it wouldn't be able to read what it says. At the destination will be able to decrypt the packet that has been sent and receive the message. So confidentiality, VPN traffic is kept confidential with encryption. Plain text data that is transported over the internet can be intercepted and read. So encrypted the data to keep it private. Digitally encrypting the data renders it unreadable until it is encrypted by the authorized receiver. Should be unencrypted only by authorized receiver. For encrypted communication to work, both the sender and receiver must know the rules that are used to transfer the original message into coded form. Rules are based on the algorithm and associated keys. In the context of encryption, an algorithm is a mathematical sequence of steps that combines a message, text, digit, or all three within a string of digits that are called a key. The output is unreadable cipher string. The encryption algorithm also specifies how an encrypted message is decrypted. Decryption is extremely difficult or impossible without the correct key. Confidentiality is achieved through the encryption of traffic that travels throughout a VPN. The degree of security depends on the key length of the encrypted algorithm and the sophistication of the algorithm. If a hacker tries to hack the key through the brute force attack, the number of possibilities to try is a function of the key length. The shorter the key, the easier it is to break. For example, where a relatively sophisticated computer might take approximately 1 year to break a 64-bit long key, the same computer might take anywhere from 10 to 19 years to decrypt a 128-bit long key. There's trades here. For example, we want a longer key because we want a better encryption and so on. But with a longer key, the processing power of the devices to decrypt that, they're going to need more processing for that. So kind of like you have to find the middle ground. Not use so long big keys, but not so short keys either. Encryption algorithms. There are two types of encryption. We have a symmetric encryption and asymmetric encryption. Symmetric encryption. Now, with the symmetric encryption, we have a same pre-shared key. The sender and receiver, they know the key. So before we send the message, we have a plain text message. We encrypt that message with a key. Already the destination knows about that key. And we send the encrypted text. The destination has the same key, will be able to decrypt it and read the plain text. So encrypted algorithm, such as Advanced Encryption Standard, AES, requires a shared secret key to perform encryption and decryption. Each one of the two network devices must know the key to decode the information. With the symmetric key encryption, also called a secret key encryption, each device encrypts the information before sending it over to the other side or other device. Symmetric key encryption requires knowledge of which device talks to each other, so that the same key can be configured on each device. Encryption and decryption will use the same key, typically used to encrypt the content of the message. Examples of symmetric encryptions are DES, triple DES, and AES. Now, DES and triple DES are no longer considered as secure, so we only use AES or Advanced Encryption Standard. Now, this is not as secure or as asymmetric, because you need to have the same key. You need the source to know the key and the destination to know the key. The same key we encrypt, with the same key we decrypt. For example, say that we send some data from my laptop to my router. The same key we're going to be using from my laptop and the router. I'm going to use the same key to encrypt. The router is going to use the same key to decrypt. Not as secure because the key is static. Asymmetric encryption is when you have a different key. The source has a different key to encrypt and use another key to decrypt. So two separate keys are used and not shared. So one key to encrypt something and another key to decrypt it. One key encrypts the message while the second key decrypts the message. It is not possible to encrypt and decrypt with the same key. Public key encryption is variant of asymmetric encryption. They use a combination of public and a private, or private key and a public key. The recipient gives the public key to any sender with whom the recipient wants to communicate. The sender uses a private key that is combined with the public key of the recipient to encrypt the message. For example, say I want to access a website, a secure website. Now, as I'm accessing that secure website, the secure website is going to send me a public key. Anything that I encrypt with that key, the only key will be able to decrypt that message is the private key. So you encrypt with one key, with the public, and private will be able to decrypt it. If private encrypts with a key, private encrypt, the only key will be able to decrypt is the public key. Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange. So Diffie-Hellman is not an encryption mechanism and is not typically used to encrypt the data. Instead, it is a method of securely exchanging the key that encrypts the data. Now, what Diffie-Hellman does is that you have a public key and a private key, two keys. On the other side that you're talking to, another company, they have two keys. Private, which they keep it safe, and a public, which they share with everyone. So if I want to talk to you, for example, we both have private and public key. I'll go and find out your public key, which is easy, should be easy, available on the internet. Then I'll encrypt something with your public key and send it to you. I'll say, for example, half of the password. Say I would like to talk to you and I would like to use the password 123, and I'll send it to you. Now I know the only thing can decrypt that message is your private key. Now you decrypt your message with a private key and you say, oh, okay, well, Astrid would like to talk to me and he wants to use password 123. Good. Now you go and find my public key, right? And you encrypt a message with my public key. You say, okay, Astrid, I hear that you would like to talk to me, and I like the password that you just said, but add 456 in there, and you send it to me. And you know the only thing can decrypt that message is my private key. So when I decrypt that message, it says, okay, well, you want to talk to me, and I told you password 123, and you say to add 456. So now we come up to a shared key. Now we can't talk with the asymmetric communication. Asymmetric communication is only to make it dynamically come up to symmetric communication. So if you follow what I just said, we come up to a key called 123456, and this password, half of it went online, half of it everybody could see it. Well, it's encrypted, they can't make sense of it, but only half of it. Half from my part and half from your part, and we came up to the full password that me and you we know about, which is a symmetric communication, and then we can start chatting by using our two keys, private and public. So Diffie-Hellman, this is the process of Diffie-Hellman. So Diffie-Hellman algorithm allows two parties to establish a shared secret key that is used by encryption and hashing algorithms. Introduced by Diffie and Hellman in 1976, Diffie-Hellman was the first system to utilize public key or asymmetric cryptographic keys. Long time ago, 1976. Today, Diffie-Hellman is part of the IPsec standard. Also, a protocol known as Oakley uses the DH algorithm. Oakley is used by IKE or IKE protocol, which is a part of the overall framework called Internet Security Association and Key Management Protocol, ISAC-AMP. Now, encryption algorithms such as DES, triple DES, and AES, as well as the MD5 and SHA-1 hashing algorithm, require a symmetric shared secret key to perform encryption and decryption. How do the encryption and decryption devices get the shared secret key? The easiest key exchange method is a public key exchange method between the encrypting and decrypting devices. The Diffie-Hellman algorithm specifies a public key exchange method that provides a way for two peers to establish a shared secret key that only they know. Although they are communicating over the insecure channel, like all cryptographic algorithms, Diffie-Hellman key exchange is based on mathematical sequence of steps. So integrity, for example, have a look at this. At the start, we have this is our data, yeah? We encrypt our data. It says pay to Alex $100. We encrypt it and we have the hash. Now that hash, once we send it to the destination is going to run. It's one-way hashing, yeah. So since it's one-way hashing, there's no way, well, hard anyway, or very challenging to decrypt this hash or to get from this hash to actually get the data. But it's very easy, very simple from the data to create the hash. So as it goes to the destination will create their own hash, and if the hash matches, good, we have the integrity. If the hash does not match, then the data has been tampered. The integrity and authentication of VPN traffic is handled by hashing algorithm. Hashes provide data integrity and authentication by ensuring that unauthorized persons do not tamper with transmitted messages. A hash, also called a message digest, is a number that is generated from a string of text. The hash is smaller than text itself. It is generated by using a formula in such a way that it's extremely unlikely that some other text will provide the same hash value. There are two common HMAC algorithms. MD5 uses 128-bit shared secret key. The variable length messages of 128-bit shared secret key are combined and run through the HMAC MD5 hash algorithm. The output is 128-bit hash. The hash is appended on the original message and forwarded to the remote end. Or we have SHA-1 that uses 160-bit secret key. The variable length message and the 168-bit shared secret key are combined and run through HMAC SHA-1 hash algorithm. The output is 160-bit hash. The hash is appended to the original message and forwarded to the remote end. Cisco IOS also supports 256-bit, 384-bit, and 512-bit SHA implementation. So IPsec authentication. So we have a remote office with a corporate office. They want to talk to each other. So first, we need to do the authentication. All the peers, they need to authenticate each other. So IPsec VPN does support authentication. When conducting business long distance, it is necessary to know who is at the other end of the phone, email, or fax. The same is true for the VPN networks. The device on the other end of the VPN tunnel must be authenticated before communication path is considered secure. There are two methods of authentication or peer authentication: pre-shared key or RSA signatures, which is certificates. Pre-shared keys, a secret key that is shared between the two parties using a secure channel before it needs to be used. Pre-shared keys or PSKs use a symmetric key cryptographic algorithm. A PSK is entered into each peer manually and is used to authenticate the peers. At each end, the PSK is combined with the other information to form the authentication key. RSA signatures are digital certificates that are exchanged to authenticate the peers. The local device derives the hash and encrypts it with its private key. The encrypted hash or digital signature, it is attached to the message and forwarded to the remote end. At the remote end, the encrypted hash is decrypted using the public key of the local end. If the decrypted hash matches the remote recomputed hash, the signature is genuine. RSA signature uses certificate authorities, or CA for short, to generate a unique identity digital certificate that is also assigned to each peer for authentication. So IPsec has two main protocols. We have authentication header. Now authentication header, all data is in plain text. Authentication header only does provide authentication of the peers and integrity. The only two things. When you just want to check that the other side is who they say they are, but you don't care about, because maybe this gets used for example, when we exchange routing protocols. Routing protocols is internet widely available. Now we don't really care if somebody sees that because it's available anyway. But when we exchange with a neighbor, we just want to make sure the neighbor is there, that's who they say they are, and that it hasn't been tampered. And then the second, which is most used here for IPsec, we have encapsulation security payload. The data payload is encrypted now. So ESP does provide encryption, authentication, and integrity. So you have to remember, authentication does not provide authentication header doesn't provide encryption, just authentication integrity, while ESP provides encryption, authentication, and integrity. So authentication header is appropriate protocol to use when confidentiality is not required or permitted. It provides data authentication and integrity for IP packets that are passed between two systems. However, AH does not provide data confidentiality, which is encrypted packets. All text is transported in plain text. Used alone, the AH protocol provides a weak protection. ESP, a security protocol that provides confidentiality and authentication by encrypting the IP packets. IP packets encryption conceals the data and the identifies of the source and destination. ESP authenticate the inner IP packet and ESP header. Authentication provides data origin, authentication, and data integrity. Although both encryption and authentication are optional in ESP, at the minimum, one of them must be selected. So for example, we said earlier that IPsec is just a protocol framework. So first you need to choose what protocol you're using. IPsec protocol. Are you using AH or ESP? Or maybe you're using both. So are you worried about confidentiality? If you're not worried about confidentiality, you see this is empty. You use AH. If you're worried, then you use ESP. And then you have to choose what confidentiality you want to use. Then what kind of integrity you want to use. Then what kind of authentication you want to use. And which Diffie-Hellman group you want to use. Now, as you can see, IPsec is a framework. So it just has these like slots where you can put different kind of authentication or confidentiality protocols or integrity protocols. So if you have a brand new protocols, we don't need to change anything on IPsec. So we just fill it up with whatever the protocols that we want to use. Thank you very much for watching this section 7.3, Introduction to IPsec. Please have a look at my other videos and don't forget to subscribe. This has been Astrid Krasniqi, and I'll hopefully to see you in the next video, 7.4 remote access. Bye bye.